Ladies and gentlemen, your favorite Sunday evening show is back. This is the Bama Standard post game show. And as always, we are brought to you by Workspace Solutions and Oakmont Financial Partners. Before you do anything, before I even introduce this panel, of course, by now you should know who we are, but we're going to think that some of you guys don't live under a rock. So we're going to introduce ourselves anyway. Hit the like button, jump in that live chat, show us some love. Let us know you're here. If you're watching the replay, get in the comment section. Let us know what you think. I'm Justin Riley, and with me, as always, is the living legend who brings credibility to this show, Coach Smook. What's
What's up,
going
man?
on, brother?
What's up, brother? We back. We back.
Man, been on a few hiatuses here as of late. I don't
Man,
like that, man. I feel like we're being taken away from our virtual family here.
it's all good, man. We had to reload anyways. I feel like we got more than enough now for the next couple weeks, so we ready to get to it.
We do, and I hope that the audience has missed us as much as we missed them. Of course, last week, as everybody knew, that the Super Bowl kind of got in the way of things. Very selfish on their part, but we are back to spend time with you, quality time. And man, we've had a few things happen here in the off season. Everybody thinks that the sports world or for us Bama fans, the Bama football world comes to a complete stop, and that's just not the case. We got a lot going on right now. Let's lead off with some Bama hoops. Man, listen, when
Ha,
Bama hoops finds themselves on a losing end of a basketball game like we did again in Knoxville, and then earlier in the season to Oklahoma, those who come after don't really fare too well, and it turns into a torrential nightmare for them. Again, yesterday, after suffering that L to Knoxville to Tennessee,
mm,
we ran Georgia out of the building. I think that to the tune of what, 50 points? Am I
yeah.
correct? Or
I
49
think
points?
I think it was like 3 minutes left in the first half. I think the score was like 52-17 or something crazy like that. And I kind of stopped watching it. And that boy Miller is he might go number one, Justin. Like
Yeah,
you
he
talk
could.
about the full package out of the collegiate athletes, and I'm talking about even with the guy that came in with all the hype that ended up going to the D2 school. I can't even remember the guy's name, but he came in with a lot of hype. Kid with the dreads and but Miller is that guy. Miller is that guy. But yeah, Bama hoops, man. And then baseball is looking looking nice again too, bro.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know if you. I was it's a good day. It's like a great time to be a Bama fan, like to be a Alabama fan, just a fan of Alabama, the program, the university, the state, everything. It's a good time to be a fan.
I
Like
think
really,
we better wrap this up because the chat's getting a little ornery about us talking about something other than football. But we wanted to show love to other
he
sports.
money
And
baits. That's his
hey,
name. Yeah.
listen, we can bring up football and basketball. Coach Saban was on hand yesterday for
Right.
festivities, and I
They
think
gave
that
him a
he
big
was there.
ovation. Then they,
Yeah, he was there for that, that extra make their ass quit basketball style. And we did just that. So,
yes, yes,
congratulations
yes.
to the guys. We have a few games left. And right now, we're looking like the perennial number one seed in March Madness. If it started today, I hope that is the case as time goes on. But yeah, we're here to talk about football, right? That's what we do.
Sir.
And the season is over, like I said, but it doesn't mean it stops. And it didn't stop for Alabama players or former Alabama players in the XFL. I don't know if anybody had an opportunity to catch opening weekend, but we had a couple of Bama players that took part in today's game with the St. Louis Battlehawks against the San Antonio Brahmas. I'll lead off with more notable. Well, he's not real notable, but he was notable coming out of high school. A guy that we thought was going to be the next legendary linebacker at Alabama, and that was Ben Davis. Didn't quite pan out for him the way we had thought. Ended up transferred to Texas after his 15th year at Alabama. I think he got his doctorate and then went to Texas after claiming that COVID year. But now he finds himself in the XFL, and today he was disruptive. It's like he remembered how to play football again, and he just made life a living hell for the Battlehawks for the majority of the game. And if you were watching the game, you were probably asleep for probably 95% of it.
Yeah.
If you caught that 5% remaining, you were entertained.
Right.
The Battlehawks were staring down the barrel of a 15-3 gun. Looked like things were not going to fare well for them. But the Brahmas forgot one thing. AJ McCarron was on the other side of the ball.
Mm.
And in crunch time, we all know what happens with AJ McCarron, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That Bama gene just turns
Mhm.
on. And boy, it was strong. It was about 2 minutes to go. I'm not, just underemphasizing this. 2 minutes to go. AJ McCarron's doing his thing. He finds Akeem Butler, 125 left, touchdown back of the end zone. And the XFL, what's cool about them, it's not like the regular football rules apply here. And what I mean by that
Mhm.
is if you're not familiar, once you score a touchdown, you have the opportunity to go for 1, 2, 3. Well, the Battlehawks were in a major deficit. So they had no choice but to go for 3.
3. Yep.
AJ McCarron, he's like, all right, I'm about that life. Finds Austin Prohl, 3-point conversion, good. Austin Prohl is a name you might as well get used to hearing
Right.
because right after that, you see in the XFL, again, the rules are a little bit different. You don't have to kick an onside kick. You can elect to go for a 4th and 15. I think you're around your 20, 25-yard
25.
line.
Yeah.
You have one final opportunity to keep the drive alive. So here we are, 4th and 15, less than a minute to play. AJ McCarron doing AJ McCarron things, finds who? Austin Prohl,
Bro. Yep.
22-yard gain. The drive is alive. March down the field. 16 seconds left, folks. AJ McCarron finds who else? Austin
Austin
Prohl,
Pro.
16-yard touchdown, and the Battlehawks emerged victorious 18-15. Like I said, if you watch 95% of the game, you're probably bored to tears, but that last 5% was well worth it. And so was the interview by AJ McCarron post game. Got a little bit emotional. His kids were there, and they got an opportunity to see him play. My allergies started kicking in a little bit too at that
Yes,
point when I was
sir.
hearing him
Yes,
talk.
sir.
But Coach, I want to turn it over to you, man. Listen, we got some Alabama guys who are creating value for themselves in this league, but also the USFL. What's your takeaway of what you saw today, but then the league as a whole?
I mean, you did a good job narrating that game though, because I literally woke up when they
When
when
they
they were
woke
on
up,
when they were on the scoring drive. I think it was after the run play, the second play of the drive. But to answer your question, man, and to give my insight or my perspective on it, I think it's a great opportunity for guys, man. I think this creates more of a reason why we need to manage and do better with NIL and how it's structured, because now you can create a progressive chart just like you do any other career. You got some guys who are great collegiate athletes who are able to go to class, stay there for 4 or 5 years, and they because they know that they haven't gotten the look or the stock that they need to go to the
mm-hmm.
NFL. And you can leave the NFL at the top tier, but provide other avenues for guys not to feel less if they don't make it to the NFL, and make it just as important, because just like the NFL is like top tier as a player or as an athlete, as a fan, top tier is me being able to go to the NFL game every week and sit, and what I'm saying? Top tier is me being able, so like I'm not able to do that at this point in my life. You get what I'm saying? So I
Mm-hmm.
would love to be able to be provided that same energy and opportunity to see live football with different players that have created value for themselves on a collegiate level. And that'll solve a lot of the negativity that comes with being a college athlete and not having to earn or be deserving of the type of money that they earn. Because when you think about it, athletes, not just football, athletes in general, when you want to make it to the top level and you want to perform at the top level, people say it's about dedication, it's the love of the game, but it's entertainment also. You
Mhm.
have to be able to provide entertainment as an
Yeah.
athlete. And that's what we do as athletes. We provide entertainment. It doesn't matter if it's a pickup game. It doesn't matter if it's a college game, youth football. It's entertainment. It's enjoyment in it, and people pay for entertainment. Just like you pay to go see a movie or you pay to go see a boxing match or whatever. I mean, you're paying for entertainment, and as athletes, they're entertainers. So is creating respect, a level of respect on each level. And with social media and how things are set up now, excuse me, like we were talking earlier, you have a YouTube channel that broadcasts football, the fan football league, and it's ran by the fans, and the amount of viewership that it gains, you would think that it should be mainstream. This should be on ABC, this should be on ESPN, but it's not necessarily about where it's at nowadays. It's about how it's accessed. And more
Mhm.
people, it's easier for people to access their phones and get on YouTube from their phones than it is for them to pay for cable. So this is a great opportunity on the business side, and also just on a morale standpoint, as far as morals, when you talk about respecting people's what they choose to dedicate their lives to, because a lot of people look down on athletes who don't make it past college, as if they don't make it to the NFL, it's a bust. But I,
Yeah.
I feel like I know a guy, Terrence Mahone. He went to school in Columbus, Georgia, and one of the probably the best DBs to come out of the class. I think he came out in 2000 or 2001. Shaw won 01 state champ. Yeah, so I think he came out in 2000 or 2001. But long story short, he played overseas ball for about 12 years, man. Overseas football, and had a nice career. You would never know who he was unless you watched the you remember when they had the European Football League?
Yep.
You would never know who he was unless you paid attention to that and actually followed that post, it being broadcasted and being mainstream. So it created value for him, and he's had a life. He's got a wife, got kids. He's retired from the game. He's come back to the States now. But to
Mhm.
know that all that type of energy is being transferred in the States now, and opportunities are being created, and people are investing into the quote unquote little guy, is a great thing for athletes in general.
Absolutely. And to piggyback off of basketball, you look at guys, Alabama guys like Erwin Dudley, Rod Grizzard, Kennedy Winston, who may not have gotten to the NBA and achieved NBA fame, but they were able to go overseas and create value for themselves and play long careers and get paid very well. But let's talk about something that we briefly went over before we started the show. You just said about is entertainment. It's creating entertainment. Well, what happens when that entertainment stops? And what I mean by that is what happens when these players get hurt? You see, the NFL is what have you done for me lately? And very fickle. If a player gets hurt, all of a sudden they had this brand on them. God forbid they get hurt for that second or even third time. Well, now you have the opportunity because what the NFL does is they cast them aside. They're they're
Mhm.
they're used up. They can't be utilized anymore, right?
Right,
Well,
right.
you have guys like Bo Scarborough and Reuben Foster who received that treatment from the NFL. Now they're both in the USFL, creating value for themselves, creating tape, and showing that they can play healthy and at still a high level. And once the season's completed, they're able to go back to the NFL. The
Yeah,
USFL this past season created 30 opportunities in the NFL for players. One of
right.
those was Cavante Turpin, who was an all pro as a kick returner for the Dallas Cowboys. Matter of fact, Cavante didn't even stop playing. He's been playing football since what, last March, and
Right.
just stopped in that last
Yep.
playoff game.
Right.
So yeah, we're not going to cast aside these leagues like the USFL and XFL and look at them as less than anymore.
Right.
Great way to describe it. But
It's definitely like we were talking about earlier. It's like a progressive chart that athletes can now they can plan their careers um and not feel like that's the only way. D1 than the league. No, I might be the smaller. I might be the 6'3", 155 guy that can't get over 175 and be and I might not run a 4.3. I might not, but I got hands and I'm strong. I might not develop till I'm 26. You know, I might
Mhm.
and most athletes can't stay in college till you're 26, you know? So while when I'm
You
done with
you
my
can if
4 or
you
5
play quarterback for Georgia.
yeah, or or defensive tackle. We're not gonna talk about that either, but but yeah, man, it does it should be like that, man. For and I mean, we see it done in baseball. It's done in baseball. It's been being done in baseball, and baseball is so lucrative because you can go to a minor league game, man. I don't even know if that's like the proper terminology, but whatever. Like my homeboy plays for the Columbus River Dragons. You know, that's their local team, and go to those games, and those games are packed.
Mhm.
Those
Yeah.
games, and they're entertaining.
Birmingham
They're
Barons too.
yeah, man. The first time I went to a Montgomery Biscuits game, man, I thought I was at the Brave Stadium. I thought I
Mhm.
was in Atlanta because it's baseball, and you got athletes out there that are dedicated and trying to do, make it to the next level. So create that same type of mindset for football, and you're going to just create another dynamic for the football athletes. So I love
Mhm.
it. I love it, man. Like I was talking
Absolutely.
about earlier, 7-on-7 flag football. Flag football is in the Olympics right now. Like that's an Olympic thing. Countries, different countries have flag football teams, and you mean to tell me like you can't find it should be like 15 to 20 teams in each state. Flag football teams, you could get 15 to 20 teams like they do JUCO, get your
Easy.
state championships, and then go to the nationals, create the national tournament. Like
Mhm.
that football, what they're doing right now with football and how the XFL and USFL is taking the forefront and pushing, promoting, you know, quote unquote castaways, the little guys.
Yep.
It's gonna change the game, man. Bring a lot of value to it.
I agree, and we will keep up with Bama players in the XFL as the season progresses. To wrap this section up of our show, AJ McCarron finished with 190 yards and 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter alone. In those last 2 minutes, he was 11 of 14 for 132 yards and 2 touchdowns. Have yourself a day, AJ McCarron. So
Hey,
really
and you
excited.
see what else? There's no turnovers. You know who still has the least amount of turnovers for per start at Alabama?
AJ McCarron.
Yep. Somebody fact check that. I'm telling you, even Bryce Young's season last year. What was it? His freshman year? No, it was last year where he only had 8 interceptions or
Hmm.
something like that. Yeah, AJ McCarron. The guy, he could still be in the league, man. That's what bothers me. You look at the value of quarterbacks in the league, and you say AJ McCarron don't deserve a chance. You trying to tell me he's never deserved a legit opportunity to start? Come on, man. You got guys like Ryan Fitzpatrick that's able to bounce the teams and get starting roles, but AJ McCarron can't. Come on, man.
It's funny that you mentioned value of players because that's a perfect segue into our next segment. Folks, we weren't here to recap the Super Bowl, but listen, we're not really here to recap the Super Bowl itself. We can recap what we saw from Alabama. Bama Sci-Fi represented in a great way the first quarterback in Alabama history since Ken Stabler. Jalen Hurts took the stage and balled out 304 yards passing, one passing touchdown, and then he had 70 yards rushing and 3 more touchdowns to his credit. And then Smitty, the Slim Reaper, Devonta Smith, had over 100 yards receiving as well. And from what I recall, Coach, he is the first player since 1999 that had over 100 plus yards receiving in both the national championship game, but also the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl. Yep.
Landon Dickerson, of course, he couldn't produce stats. He just mowed people over. He did his thing, and Josh Joe was a great cheerleader on the sideline. We appreciate the efforts, but Bama did well in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I was more proud of Jalen, man. Like it sucks that Jalen has had to lose 2 games, two championships because
In
he
virtually the
wasn't on the
same
field
way.
last.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? Like he wasn't on the
Yeah,
field last. That I know that hurts him. And as a leader, Jalen's not going to say it, but when he's at home, come on,
he's
he's
thinking
like,
about it.
man,
You
you
know he's
got to. They
He
couldn't
built
stop,
different.
man. Yeah, they couldn't stop Jalen, man. And Smitty was cooking. AJ Brown was cooking. I mean, their offense was cooking. I think they got a little they weren't as aggressive in the third quarter. Like I felt like they could have been. They should have came out a lot more aggressive when they got the ball back. But that call, I technically well, I don't the way that the play looked, it didn't look like he was more than 5 yards down the field, and you can jam within 5 yards. You can create contact within 5 yards. Ball wasn't in the air. Um, yeah, but that hurt. But yeah, my
It
boy
did.
Jalen getting paid. My boy Jalen getting paid, man.
Yes, and that's what we're here to talk about. Listen, he may not have got a Super Bowl, but he had a hell of a year. All pro. Man, looking in him in terms of development, my gosh, what a long way he's come. Watching the Super Bowl, just seeing him thread the needle, hit dimes, just drop balls in places that a few years ago he wouldn't have ever dreamed of doing. And now we're at a pivotal moment in terms of a contract for him. And although the talk going around right now is, like you said, Coach, he's about to get paid. Jordan Sigler of Yard Barker, as well as Ralph Bacciano of Fox Sports South. See, I can't say all those big words at one time and not trip up. Are saying that he, at a floor, maybe getting a contract that surpasses what Josh Allen's contract is worth right now, which I believe is in the neighborhood of 258 million.
Yep.
So I want you to look at this, man. This is a guy that if you give him the big money, he's not going to be like these other prima donnas who just kind of coast the rest of the way. This is a guy who's motivated to play. He could care less if he had money. He'd probably do it for free. And
Yeah.
right now, what I love about Jalen is defeats resonate well for him because it pisses him off. It
Right.
only makes him better. That loss to Clemson, losing the starting job at Alabama, coming off the bench in the SEC championship, leading us to that victory over Georgia. And now he's got a Super Bowl loss where he's taking personal. And it isn't all his fault. This is called what it is. It wasn't all his fault. Did he make a
Right.
bad mistake? Yeah, he did. He fumbled the ball, but there's a whole lot of other things that happened that really could have, made that go away. Could have been a difference in the game. But he's going to be playing pissed off for greatness. So this is a guy that if you pay him well, he's not going to become that guy that you can't get anything out of. So I turn it over to you after a huge year, a phenomenal year, a year that most people could never dream of. Their careers may not even accumulate what he did in 1 year. Are we jumping the gun and giving him that bag, or is this a legit thing for him?
I think you definitely go and invest in somebody who's consistently over time their career since they've been on the main stage. Jalen Hurts has been in front of national media since he committed to Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Not since he took a snap, but since he committed. The moment Jalen Hurts said he was going to Alabama, all right, this is our show. A black quarterback who
Mm-hmm.
wasn't in a traditional system
Mm-hmm.
going to Alabama as a starter, and says he's going to start as a freshman. Jalen Hurts said he was coming to start. That's what he said in the interview. He said he's coming to play football. He's coming to start. That's what he said. And that boy fought. And he came out to the spring game and played his tail off. Wild us with his legs. Everybody saw the legs. But then when we saw his arm strength, not necessarily the talent, but just the arm strength in his first 8A game, we knew he was going to be a problem. And then to
Yeah.
have an opportunity, man, I mean, just his continual ability to continue to develop his whole career since we've known Jalen Hurts, the quarterback. It's a track record. And that's what I think a lot of the great GMs do. They go and they look at not just what you've done since you joined the league, but they go back and they look at they consider what caused them to draft you. If they drafted you, they consider what caused them to trade for you or to even sign you from free agency. If we're talking about contract extensions and all these things, like what caused me to look into you from the beginning? Is this still has it grown or are you still at the same place from when I first invested in you? And you look at guys like Jalen Hurts, you look at guys like Justin Jefferson, look at guys like the receiver from the Bengals, Cincinnati,
Jamar
um,
Chase.
Jamar Chase. You look at Burrows, guys like these guys that have come into the league, and every year when they were, they came in with some hype or questions, and every year they're answering the bell, they're stepping up to the plate. When those rookies, those guys that are coming out of these contracts, you can invest in those. And it works out generally. It works out, especially when you've already taken the time like Philadelphia has to invest in the key parts that's going to help your quarterback be successful. Your offensive line. You have your skills positions locked in for the next 3 years. You got, because Smitty still got 2 years left on his rookie contract.
Mm-hmm.
So you got him locked in for 2 years. You got AJ Brown that you could re-sign. You don't have to max him. You've already given him the contract he wanted. That's
Mm-hmm.
why he's there. You're gonna find another veteran slot receiver, somebody off there on the market. Like you have an opportunity to surround Jalen Hurts with just a stable of everything over the next 5 years, and you're gonna invest 10 years into him. So Jalen Hurts being the leader that he is, whoever your next quarterback is that you're gonna want to start phasing into Jalen Hurts' position whenever he's getting to that part where, all right, is he at his peak? Is he on the other side of his career? Are we going to let him slowly just, handle this thing how he wants to? Or are we going to start creating that separation? Like you're giving him that space and time and you're investing into him. Say, hey, we're going to give you the reins and we're going to maximize it this way. Philadelphia is doing it the right way. So, yeah, I'm excited for him. I think it's a great opportunity for us to just see. But that also leads me to this too, Justin.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about Jalen Hurts' development. You got to remember, Jalen Hurts was labeled as an athlete even after doing what he did in college. Even at Oklahoma, people doubted Jalen Hurts and said he would not be able to be an NFL quarterback. And we have an exact replica of him sitting in our quarterback room right now at Alabama in Jalen Milroy.
And one of the
I
things I
mean,
loved about Jalen is if you tell him no, he's going to learn how to do it, and not just do it,
exceeded.
excel. Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like Milroe even did that this past season. They so many people doubted Jalen Milroe going into that game against A&M. So many people doubted that man, and he just found a way to win. It wasn't pretty by any means, but his ability to go out there after 3 turnovers
Yeah.
that he was responsible for and go out there and still lead a drive and create plays, go back. Let me calm down and do what I know that I could do to help my team. Not to make me look good, not to make coach happy, but what can I do to help my team? Those type of guys you can win with, you can invest in. And I feel like with the right coordinator, we can see a faster development process for Milroe than we saw with Jalen Hurts.
Absolutely. And Tommy Reese may be the guy to do it. And
Maybe.
that's one of the things I'm looking forward to. But yes, Jalen Hurts, go ahead and pay the man.
Mm-hmm.
I will pose this question. Do the Eagles go out and get Josh Jacobs?
Um, it depends on what type of. I mean, ideally, yes, because I love Jacobs and his energy and the type of dedication he's shown to the game. Um, but do you try to disrupt that running back room that the Eagles are establishing by adding somebody? Somebody
I'm
got
looking at
somebody got to
as
lose some money too.
I'm looking at it as having that final solid piece, not to take away from Sanders, not to take away from
Yeah,
that run back room, but adding a Josh Jacobs, a veteran, a guy that led the league in rushing this past season, maybe that final piece that
yeah,
puts their offense in in Thor mode.
right.
But also, you're also if you do that, you're cutting into possible money for Jalen.
Jalen, and then you cutting in the touches for AJ. You cutting in the touches for Smitty. Like you got to think like they have Sanders because he's cool with 12 to 15 touches a game. He's good with that. He's built for that. That's his style. Knowing that he can share carries with a quarterback that can take
Mm-hmm.
that type of workload. So I think that's what goes into the scheme of things. It's not more so of what Jacobs is good at because he can go to any team and help them, and be solid and solidify their running back room. But it's about your scheme of things. Like, do you want to possibly run into that. And I think that's what most of these coordinators and coaches consider when they looking at big names, guys like Jacob. So yeah, it would be awesome. That would be cool. That would
I'd
be
love to
cool.
see
But
it.
yeah.
All right, so we've talked about the XFL, we've talked about the NFL. Well, now let's get back to college ball, Bama ball. Interesting off season. We got our offensive coordinator, we got our defensive coordinator. You know, I've already talked at length about it, and we've had time to kind of digest, dissect, and just really dig deep into what these guys can possibly bring in terms of value. But we also brought in some analysts, and you could call them the old folks home because the average
Right.
age is 64, 65. And I was wondering, was Coach Saban bringing these guys in to be the babysitter for Tommy Reese and Austin Armstrong, who are both 30 and 29 respectively?
Right.
But what I'm seeing is Coach Saban has that burning desire to return to make their ass quit. I
Mm-hmm.
think what we have lost focus on in this new age of offense is we are constantly wanting to evolve. We're constantly wanting to stay ahead of the curve. And I think by doing so, we're forgetting that old school still works, right?
Mm-hmm.
As that quest to evolve continues to happen, I think we're forgetting that roots that got us to where we are. And that's one of the things that I feel like cannot be ignored. And Coach Saban's not ignoring it. He can't. And why can't he? Because he's looking over in Athens and he's seeing Kirby Smart doing that. He's doing the very thing that got Alabama to where they are. He brought the blueprint over to Athens and is
Mm-hmm.
using it against him. So at this point, Coach Saban's saying, we're not doing this finesse crap. We're not doing this watered down version of Bama. We're getting back to the old school way of doing things where we're aggressive and we're going to break your will and we're going to wear you out. So in walks Kevin Steele. Hey, here's an old name, Joe Pendry, and then Sal Sinceri and Ken Whisenhunt, all analysts.
Yes.
And you know that my vote for Joe Pendry being out there is already cast and it is solidified because I'll always bring up and on so many shows, Coach, what he did for our offensive line this past season or the previous season when we hit the postseason. Dramatic turnaround, and he lit a fire under the offensive line, and we were able to perform at a high level against Georgia in the SEC championship, and then we were able to dominate up front Cincinnati in the Cotton Bowl, and we were doing the same thing as Georgia in the national championship until Jameson Williams got hurt. But
Right.
it seems like Coach Saban has decided to make this team take on the personality of Clint Eastwood and Gran Torino because he's got those nasty old men
Right. Right.
with the killer attitude back. And we've all seen the video, and I think that you'll agree with me that the excitement is definitely there. But as you are looking at these hires in terms of analysts, how excited are you about having the old guys, these board of elders, if you will, for my church folks, in place?
I mean, I'm excited, Justin, just for generally the same reasons you are. Um, and I think having those guys in strategic positions is what's key here. Not just bringing them in and throwing them on the field. I don't think those guys need to be on the field that he's brought in. I think you need minds behind the younger coaches. I think you need a great mind behind Freddie Roach. I think you need a great mind behind T Rob.
Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
Travaris. Because I used
Traverse.
to call him Travis, but it's Travaris. Yeah. But I mean, like Austin Armstrong, you need great minds behind young,
Mhm.
potential guys that are showing that they have potential and give them space to grow. Give them space to grow, but at the same time, keep them within I guess you could like boundaries to project them in the right direction. Don't just have a young guy out there trying stuff, looking bad, having a program looking bad. Like give them some support so they can have multiple proven ways of processing information when it comes to the game. Because at Alabama, you're not going to get in many more. There's not going to be many more stages on the collegiate level than Alabama where you're going to need to be able to perform in stressful situations. Even though Alabama didn't win a national championship, I guarantee you, next season, Alabama's going to still get everybody's best shot every game because we're Alabama. So when you got a guy like Tommy Rees, this is going to be his first year coordinating, you want guys up in the booth behind him that can support him, that can push things out. And then you got a guy in Kevin Steele when Tommy Rees needs that extra space to kind of process things. You got Kevin Steele on the other side, coordinating your defense, who has a proven track record of producing solid, aggressive, run stopping, strong pass coverage defenses, able to mix up looks. I mean, like I can't wait to see pre-snap motion from our linebackers. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't wait to see pre-snap shifts from the D line. We didn't get a lot of that this season, man. And it's because we can't blame Freddie Roach for that. We saw what Freddie Roach did
And
when he
everybody was
played.
quick to do it too.
You get what I'm saying? So like, and I think a key hire right now, a key position that people are going to overlook, is having Ken Whisenhunt as an analyst, man. Like, I don't think people understand the value that comes with having a guy like that on your staff. And then he's basically the senior, isn't he like the senior assistant to Coach Saban?
He is.
And so, like, just imagine the conversation and the wealth of knowledge that's going to be at the table. I don't know if you all have watched documentaries on Alabama football program under Coach Saban, or interviews and stuff like with Mike Locksley and former coordinators and how they explain how that table is, where you got the infield and the outfield. Like, just think about it. Mike Locksley was on the outfield for 3 years before he got a seat at the table, or 4 years. And you got a guy like Mike Locksley who was sitting in the outfield as an analyst at Alabama. And you saw the type of product that was being produced out of the program. You don't always have to be calling the shots. Just implement what you're specialized in. I think what a lot of coaches and people who are looking into coaching are understanding now in this day and age that I need to first specialize in one spot and then maximize that and learn around me, pick up around me and then start expanding. You got a guy that think he know offense, but you don't even know the first thing about teaching the quarterback how to properly do a 3-step drop and go through his progressions. So like, it's a good thing for us, man. All the wealth of knowledge, like I said, like you were saying, that old school feel. I feel like Kevin Steele is about to get the most hype he's gotten as a coordinator because he's going to be with Saban again, and the amount of talent he's about to have for the next. I don't think Jeremy Pruitt is replacing Steele anytime soon. That's just my personal opinion. I think Pruitt's on staff to be there for whatever time. And Steele is Steele's job until he's ready to say, hey, here you go, Jeremy. Or whenever, whatever happens. But I think we have a staff right now that's ready to just be a staff, be a championship program, be at the top, enjoy these moments, see all these talented kids get the best opportunities they can, the best opportunities at development, understanding, knowledge, all this stuff. Accountability is the energy is about to be there, man. Accountability. A lot of these coaches that's being hired have been accountable for their actions. Jeremy Pruitt, when he gets on, he's been accountable for it wherever he's been. Jeremy Pruitt slapped one of them players. I did it, my bad. Like he deserved it though. But it's a good thing for us, man.
It's a great thing, and Jeremy Pruitt is in no hurry to return to the field to assume the role of defensive coordinator. He's willing to wait this out because one thing, we got the NCAA probe that's over his back, and plus he has a great relationship with Kevin Steele. He's not trying to push him into retirement. He's allowing this to develop the way it's supposed to.
Yeah.
And I want to look at the other side of the old folks. I got in trouble with Lorraine here at the old folks' home. I look at it in a different aspect too. The old folks, meaning the players, the former players, the players who were in the game, who understand what it means And we have these guys in place. Most notably, Clinton Dix is back as director of player development. We also had Denzel Duvall and Josh Chapman on staff as well. It's one thing to have a coach who understands the culture and to have the coaches back that implemented that certain culture we have. But it's another thing when you have the players there who were a part of that culture, who established that culture. They're able to relate to these guys currently a lot better than, say, these coaches can. They're able
Right.
to have those discussions, those one-on-ones a lot better. And these guys are going to buy into them. They're going to be a great compliment, a cherry on top, if you will, to the old heads, the Kevin Steeles and the Sal Sinceris and the Joe Pendrys.
Right.
That's another aspect we need to look at. And hey, Javier Arenas is still on staff. So we
Yeah.
have the guys that got us here. Talk to the folks about how important it is to have these guys on the roles they serve in.
It's very important, man, because that's when you have a lot of eyes everywhere and they understand the mission, and that, like, I feel like that's what we've been lacking, and we've seen guys like Marvin talk about it. We've seen um Matt talk about it, Matt Cadell. We've seen Mike on the show, man, Bo. Like, they remember, they can tell you about coaches on staff that would get in they tail when they wasn't pushing. It wasn't always Coach Saban fussing at them. You know, the
Mm-mm.
thing was they knew what was expected because those coaches carried on the same mantle and the same energy and accountability and intensity when it came to getting guys to understand what we're here to do. And when you can teach that and preach that, and your coaching staff can echo that on a consistent basis, you don't see mental errors, 17 penalties in a game. You know what I'm saying? Like 17 self-inflicted penalties in
Mm-hmm.
one game. That 17 penalties was good for, we checking week 3. Alabama has just now hit that 17th penalty of the season. Like, that's what we were used to back in the old Bama days.
Mm-hmm.
And most of our penalties was maybe a late hit early in the game. You remember we used to enforce, we used to jump. I remember Terrence Cody. What game that was? Mississippi State. They were talking trash that week, and Terrence Cody just jumped offside, second or third play of the game, blew the center up. That was a message. That was a message. That was the thing. And guess who encouraged that? Kirby. Guess who was on that
Mm-hmm.
staff? Like, that staff, they encouraged that attitude, man. And we have an opportunity to have it. So you put guys that understand how what it took to develop that. Guy like Javier Arenas. First time I met Javier Arenas, man, he's only like 5'7" in real life. He's only like 5'7".
Don't tell
We
people
we
that.
hey, we not
Don't tell
Javier. You
people that.
watch this show, I gotta
That's not
tell him, bro.
listed in the program, sir.
Because they was giving my boy 5'10" on Madden and everything. When the Falcons picked him up, I said Javier is not 5'10". All right, y'all. He real jacked, but he's not 5'10". But I remember just seeing Javier working out, man, and he was just his footwork and everything. We just working out there, just working out. And when he came off the field or whatever, I just was looking. I was like, man, this dude is 5'8", 5'7", and got all this agility, all this intensity, and he's been out the game. He's been away from Bama for like 6 years.
Mhm.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he still, you could see that Bama installed this in him, that intensity, that energy. And then you put him back on staff now, and he's on the sideline, and you could tell he's frustrated. You could see when he's like on the sideline, sometimes you could see like Javier like this, bro, like shaking his head, like, ain't no way. You see a big play happen on the DB, Javier be like, ain't no way. Like, you could see that jump. And I'm like,
Oh, I know.
and I'm like, man, why can't why is he not able to say something? Are they not able to but I feel like the doors are opening back up, and now these guys, they can really help these new athletes with NIL. Like, they can explain to them, like, man, value this, because we had to do it through so much paperwork. We got cheated. You know how many former athletes, they were having to live off of like $4,000 a month as a college athlete? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy.
I
to
can live
be at
off
Alabama?
4,000 a month.
Huh?
I can live off of 4,000 a
I
month.
can't. I can, but that for a college athlete, you expect to maintain his weight. They just not getting into the thing these past probably like 5-6 years where the we call it defect in the military, but like cafeteria and being able to get food whenever they want it, they don't have to pay for it. It's already paid. 24 hours open available to them. They just not getting to that, man. So like, just imagine trying to be and just live, man, and just live. So this is good. You get guys in places where they can affect players on a personal level that know what they talking about, not just looking for a Bama resume bullet, but like that know what they talking about.
I forgot to add that Jamie Mosley is there as well. So I guarantee you, watching linebacker play this past season, he too was on the sideline doing the exact same thing that you were saying. So real quick, what's your over under on players hitting the transfer portal once we really start to inject into their veins of we're not doing what we did last year again, and things are about to get really tough.
Let me look at this roster real quick because I was thinking about that earlier and I never got to it. And it's certain names and guys that I seen and that I followed over the past few years that I feel like are gonna go ahead and be out. But I feel like Christian Story might be one. And that's because I don't feel like he gonna have a fair opportunity to be a starter back there with Caleb Downs coming and Terrion Arnold being the athlete that he is. I think he gets moved to the other safety, to the
These
free.
two.
Yeah, I feel like Arnold at free and Downs at strong, and then you got Moore, Kool-Aid, maybe Earl Little will be your other corner. Or even what's my guy? I want to say Trequan Fagans.
Yep.
I because of his size, man, 6'2", by 190, 195. I feel like guys like that have the advantage right now in this competition in the backfield. So and then you got let me see. You got a few guys on the D line that might not they just haven't hit a stride and they might not be patient enough. You might have one. Um we might lose Ian Jackson.
Yeah, I've thought of that often actually. But yeah, this
I
D line competition is about to get real, and if the veteran guys, so to speak, aren't going to take advantage of the opportunity now, these youngsters are going to push them out the door. These guys, they're coming in ready. I feel
right.
like they understand what they're coming there to do, and they're ready to see us hoist a title again. They're not going to play, and I feel like they are fitting into the mindset of a Kevin Steele.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Did Q Rob already hit the transfer portal?
Quandarius
Qua-
Robinson?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe he
Okay.
did.
That's that and that's that he was one I knew after that penalty what game that was on the punt when he tried to recover the ball. That was Quandarius Robinson. When he tried to recover the ball on the punt cuz he thought somebody touched it. And dang, what game was that?
Tennessee,
Tennessee, yeah.
the 17 penalty game. Remember that?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
So,
he could transfer. I'm sorry, but I do think I think we lose Eli Holston next year. I think we
yeah, I
lose.
think the quarterback room is just too filled. It's overfilled right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see any of those guys staying long term, especially with NIL, like you said, just jumping to the forefront because at the end of the day, they're looking at everything as a business decision now, a business transaction. It's not
Right,
about waiting your turn anymore. It's about getting on the field so I can get paid right now. I mean, hell,
right,
Jalen Rashada had that 13 milli thrown at him, and he hadn't played a single snap of Division One
right.
football.
That
So
blows me, bro.
this is what we're dealing with. That's what we're having to fight against right now. So, yeah, Dylan Larrigan, Eli Holstein, Ty Simpson, Jalen Milrow, and Julian
That
saying they're all going to be in that room. Somebody is going to be
somebody's gonna
departing.
leave, bro. Somebody's gonna create value on a practice. They're gonna have practice film. They're gonna they're gonna create value. and they're going to have spring film and all this stuff, and they're going to be gone after next season, man. I'm telling you, especially that quarterback room, like we was just saying, that quarterback room, somebody's definitely gonna be gone. And then I see out of the wide receiver room, and I'm a big offensive guy, so out of that wide receiver room, um, what we have right now, I feel like guys kind of know where they at. So this year, going into this season, I don't see anybody really leaving. You got a lot of freshmen coming in. I feel like they have a good idea of what they're coming in and going up against when you talk about guys like Kobe Prentice, Isaiah Bonds, Kendrick Law, Shaz Preston, Emmanuel Henry. I mean, Ja'Cory Brooks is still your veteran there. He's not the best wide receiver in the room, but he is your most consistent veteran.
He's your go-to.
And then you got JB holding up space again for what reason, I don't know. Hopefully he comes back with some type of, for real, man. If you know what, I'll give Jermaine Burton a pass if he could come out next year. And who do we have week 2? I think it's Texas. And if he can show up against Texas at home with like a 6-7 meaningful catch game. I mean meaningful catches, not no late game. We up by 24, and you beating the third string corner on a quick slant because they're overloaded to the run. I don't want to see that. I want
him for an Instagram pose.
Right. I want you to run a dig or a comeback and actually attack the ball when it's in the air, and don't try to cradle it. Use your hands.
And then coaches, if he is not performing to an elite level, sit him down.
Get
him off the field, please. Don't wait until game 6 or 7 for his potential to finally emerge like it did this past season. We got too much talent, too many guys at that wide receiver room who need to get their shine on.
Right, and you waste time on a guy like Jermaine Burton, you gonna see an emotional transfer in the middle of the season.
You will.
You gonna see it. It always happens, and that's kind of what was happening with Ajayi Hall. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like if Ajayi Hall had gotten a fair opportunity week 3, even though he was proven hard-headed, hard-headed kid, wish he had got it together on the mental side. But I feel like if he had an opportunity week 2 of that season where we were struggling in the wide receiver department, was it Mechie and J-Mo? Hall's freshman year, right?
Mm-hmm. That was his freshman year.
You supposed to have J-Mo in the slot and Mechie at the Z and let Hall get the X at least 3 or 4 snaps a game.
Do you know the playbook though? That's one of the things that was talked about behind the scenes, that he didn't really know the plays. He wasn't ready.
You know what Bama used to do with their star players, and we heard Mike say it. Hey, this man, he too good. This his play. So this your opportunity. If you get 3 of these opportunities and you fail on all 3, that's why you're not playing. Because we're giving you what you can work with and giving you the opportunity to maximize it. We don't care if they know that it's coming. If all you can do with Ajayi Hall is a bean top fade ball on the goal line, that's all you can comprehend right now. We're gonna use it. But guess what? If we go out there and you get double cover and you don't make the pass, because we're going to throw it to you, since that's all you can do. If you don't make the pass, if you don't make, that's why you're not starting, because you need to learn more in the playbook. Now you have a reason to let a guy know this is why you're not playing, instead of saying, well, you ain't doing it right in practice, so you're not going to get on the field either. You know what I'm saying? Give him that back. And especially, you talking about Utah State. Teams like Utah State, when we're winning by 17, Kendrick Law benefited from it. I saw we started getting back to, if a guy can't do it right, give another guy opportunity. When Kendrick Law got in, physicality kept him on the field. His ability to run his routes, not necessarily create separation, but be strong in his routes. That's what got him opportunities. Isaiah Bonds, same thing with him. Guy just run. And if the more confident he becomes, he's going to be a problem. So we got a wealth of talent. But if you waste time, we're going to lose. I say less than 10, man. Less than 10 guys. I think we'll have less than 5 guys actually hit the portal. And when I say 5 guys, I mean 5 guys that actually are projected to be on the field or had potential to be on the field.
Okay, fair enough. Well, as you see by the clock here. Our time is
Mm-hmm.
already up. But before we close out, first of all, guys, hit that like and subscribe button. If you've not yet done so, we need to know that you love us. And we appreciate you folks in the live chat doing your thing as you always do. If you're watching the replay, get in the comment section. Let us know what you think. Before we head on out, I'm going to turn the ball over to you, Coach, and I want you to run with it. Tell folks what you got going on and where they can find you. And, folks, when he tells you where he's at, I expect everybody who's in the chat tonight to go there immediately after the show and subscribe to what he's got going on. But go ahead, Coach.
I appreciate that, Justin, for real, man. And once again, thanks for having me on the show, man. I enjoy this every time. Chat, appreciate y'all coming through. Roll Tide to everybody in the chat. I saw a lot of people in here commenting, man. I appreciate y'all for showing support to the Bama Standard. You can find me on YouTube at Coach Smook. I've been doing a little page remodeling, so you can see on there. I got my gaming, my musician stuff, my podcast stuff. We got reaction videos. I can't find my reaction video, but I'm uploading. I'm going to do a new one today. I seen a video today. I'm going to do a new one, so it'll be up sometime between tomorrow and Tuesday. So y'all check that out. Follow me on TikTok at Coach Smook. Also on Facebook, I do gaming once again, and we always talking about football, sports.
Mm-hmm.
I mean basketball, anything sports wise. I'm all game for, and just check me out, show some love, and continue to support the Bama Standard and everybody else that's connected to what we're doing, man. I appreciate y'all.
Yeah, man, we definitely appreciate you. Quit acting like you're a guest, too. You're a co-host, sir.
I'm still appreciative, though. I'm still appreciative
I
of being
appreciate the
here.
humble
Yeah,
that attitude. I greatly
yeah.
thank you for that. No question, folks. We got a lot coming up with the Bama Standard yet. It is the off season, but the game does not stop. On this channel right now, uploaded today was an interview that we did with Shad Williams. Those of you who remember his greatness, please go and check that out. Hit the like button for that one. Drop some comments. He's actually one of the most dynamic and fastest running backs to ever play for University of Alabama, and he should be talked about more. So show your support and definitely go watch that video. Tuesday night, we return to prime time on Touchdown Alabama Magazine's YouTube channel, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. The Bama Standard is back. The full crew will be there, and I am in talks with the great, the living legend, Bobby Humphrey, to appear that Tuesday night. And then at 8 p.m. right here, 8 p.m. right here. We took a week off last week, so I'm a little bit out of
Right.
sorts. 8 p.m. right here on the Bama Center YouTube channel. The Final Whistle with Matt Cadell, Chris James, Dan James, and me. We're talking all things Bama, Bama hoops, Bama football, of course, that
Right.
goes without saying. NFL, whatever has to do with Bama, we're going to be
We're
talking
on it.
about it. And then Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Central, the developmental focus points of Bo Scarborough, Blake Sims, Christian Jones, and Trent Richardson will be back on the air. And from what I'm hearing is, Clinton Dix will be the guest. If
Okay.
the university allows it, we will have him on. He's willing. Is the university able? We will definitely find out. And of course, this show, your favorite Sunday evening show, will be back next Sunday night at its regular time. No more time off. No more Valentine's Days or Super Bowls or any of the little distractions that we've been having as of late. We
Got
will
time today,
be
baby.
consistent. But that's going to do it for us. Thank you again to everybody in the chat and all the people who are going to leave us something in the comment section. Hit the like button on your way out. And don't forget to go to Coach Smook's media and follow all of those. Show some love. All right,
Yes,
that'll
yes.
do it. Roll
I
Tide,
appreciate
guys.
y'all. Roll Tide.
Yes,